Welcome to Nothing's Off the Table, the podcast where nothing, or almost nothing, is too taboo to discuss. We may not agree with or like the topic, but hey, we're happy to listen to your perspective and maybe offer our own. Brought to you by Mad Sis Productions.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nothing's Off the Table. Our guest tonight is a member of the Lgbt community, one who's a very good friend of mine. And the great thing about him is that he's a veteran of the Navy. And what's interesting and what we're going to talk about mainly is how when he was in the Navy, it wasn't cool to be gay. It wasn't legal, actually. So anyway, Chuk, are you there,
yes,
Chuk? Welcome.
I'm here.
Welcome, brother. So,
thank you, Andy.
Yeah.
A bit nervous.
Yeah, it's all right. It's okay to be nervous. So here's the deal, dude. This is not like, just be yourself. We're not doing like an interview. We're talking.
A conversation.
Yeah, we're hanging out. We're hanging out like
Okay.
you were here, but you're not here. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, okay.
Cool. So I also have to preface this by saying there's nothing that you're going to do or say on this podcast that will be offensive to either Chad or I. So don't think you have to censor yourself is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah. So for those that can't see, you're pretty pretty lucky because Chuk is well, he thinks he's good looking, but I don't know, man.
I saw a quick video of him. I saw him. He's a pretty man.
He's all right. He's got that stubble shit on his chin. I don't know what that's all about.
Andy wanted me to unbutton my shirt one more button. So let's not forget that.
Hey, why are you giving away my secrets, man? So anyway, let's just dive right in, all right? So since we were supposed to have somebody else on the show who was actually an activist in the community, and for whatever reasons, something happened. We couldn't get a hold of him today, so it's just going to be Chuk. But Chuk, why don't you give a quick explanation of how you and I met, and yeah, we'll go from there.
Okay. I want to say we've known each other for at least 9-10 years, and we met at Virginia Beach, Little Creek, Sea Duty Beachmaster Unit in 2007, I want to say.
Sounds about right.
So, yeah, a little over 10 years. 2007, 2006-ish. Andy was at the time, he was a chief enlisted, and I was his HM3 when we met. And I just came from Okinawa. So he was the one who kind of guided me on how to be a corpsman, like the knowledge, my eval, and from there we just started hanging out, and we've kept in touch ever since. He's been, we've relocated in several ways while we're in the Navy and while he's still in the Navy, but we still kept in touch. So that's one thing I appreciate about that.
Well, I can't shake you, man.
Hey, so real quick, just so for the folks that aren't affiliated with the military, corpsman, so you were involved in the medical field, and as we've discussed on previous episodes, Andy is currently a nurse in the Navy. Used to be a corpsman.
Yes, I used to be his assistant, and at this time, he didn't know I was gay, and I didn't tell him, and it wasn't. We did the don't ask, don't tell. We played by that rule.
All right. So when you first came in the military, all right, I'm going to show my age and Chad's age a little bit. When Chad's in the Navy, by the way.
Okay.
So when we both came in the military, I'm sure you remember, Chad, on the enlistment paper contract, it asked, "Are you homosexual? Yes or no?" And if you marked yes, well, sorry, you couldn't play.
Right.
But so when you came in, was there anything on your contract like that?
Not that I remember, no.
Okay. So
what year did you come in?
2000.
Okay, yeah. So I came in.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I would say, yeah, so Andy and I are obviously a little older. I came in 1988.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm old.
Yeah. Oh, bastard. But he's still a good-looking guy for his age.
Incredibly.
Walker and all, it doesn't matter. But so you came in, but when you came in there, was it like I see? I'm so ignorant to this whole process. Where you're from, it was kind of frowned on to be homosexual, correct?
Wait, what was that again?
Where you're from, it was frowned on to be gay. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is. You get 20 years in jail if you're caught being gay in public.
So,
put it that way.
So explain, because people are thinking, well, that shouldn't happen in the U.S. So where is this at?
This is Nigeria.
Nigeria.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it's West Africa.
Right.
So it's one of those things where if you're openly gay, of course, but you can be gay in your house, but openly it's 20 years. I'm just saying that.
Can you be gay in your buddy's house?
I was told.
Is this still that's still in effect today, or is that?
Yes, it is.
Oh wow.
Wow, that's crazy, dude. So you came in. So the recruiter didn't say anything about that. Did he say, So they didn't ask at all because of the don't tell, don't ask. I'm assuming.
He didn't ask me. No, he didn't ask me.
All right, and
I didn't tell him.
But the culture of the Navy at that time was still of such where it wasn't accepted.
Yes.
Is that fair?
It is fair, although I did meet a lot of, I came in contact, even at boot camp, I came in contact with a lot of gay people.
Well, I mean, let's face it, gays have been in the military since the military has been around.
Absolutely.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
So, and if anyone didn't know about it, then they're either really stupid or blind. I don't know. But, yeah, gay people have served for years and years and years. And the cool part now is that you can openly serve and serve proudly. But we're going to get to that here in a few minutes. What I want to talk about is, do you remember how I found out you were gay?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Share that story.
If my memory serves me correctly, your wife found out through MySpace.
Yep.
My MySpace, if I'm correct, and I think I'm almost correct. And then, and then your text message to me was, "Why did you tell me?"
Well,
that was
it goes a little bit. See, I remember this well. She found you on MySpace, and then I went and I tried to friend request you on MySpace, and you didn't accept.
Okay.
And you didn't accept.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
This motherfucker, man. I'm not good enough to be his friend on MySpace, I guess. But looking back, I get it, man. You were. I can't imagine I can't imagine how you felt at that point. Like, oh shit, my chief knows now.
Yeah, like I said, your first text was, "Why did you tell me?" And I was like, "Ooh." So there's certain things that you remembered. Even though it's so long ago, there's certain things you still remember. That's one of those things I still remember.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like I don't know how I took it, but I was like, and I can't remember the conversation we had afterwards.
I remember it well.
Really?
Yeah, I do, as a matter of fact. Like you said, some things you just never forget. So Chuk used to come over to the house. This is before my wife and I had kids. Chuk used to come over to the house, and he would basically babysit the dogs for us when we would go away for the weekend. And so he came over. It was like Halloween weekend, I remember right. I think it was 2008. 2007, I think. I don't remember the date. It doesn't matter. Anyway, you showed up, and dude, there was so much tension you could cut it with a knife. And I basically asked you, "Dude, what's up, man?" And you're like, kind of hemmed and hawed a little bit. And I told you, I said, "Look, man, Connie and I love you for who you are, not what you are." And I'll never forget it, man. The look on your face was like instantaneous. It was like relief. Yeah, I'll never forget it. But you know what else I remember? So
go ahead.
Listen, I'm probably going to be labeled a homophobe for after saying this, but Chuk, you know better than anybody I'm not. I just like to talk shit and joke. But in our environment, we had an all-male environment at Beachmaster Unit 2 for the medical, and you know how guys are. We used to everything is hey, what's up, homo, fag, whatever, right? You know where I'm going, don't you? So that was just the environment, and So after I told you, you know, we love you for who you are and everything, I said, but I have one question for you. And he looked at me, and he used to call me chef when we were out of work instead of chief. And he looked at me and had that look like, oh shit, here it comes, right? I said, does this mean I have to quit calling you homo? And what'd you say?
I said, nope.
I said, good, get in the house, homo, we gotta go. I'll never forget that, man. But and that's probably why I'll be labeled a homophobe. But you know, I'm not.
I know.
I really don't care. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say we've come a long way with me, you know, kind of opening up to you, because that's not something I open up to a lot of people. So with you, I'm really comfortable. Mm-hmm. Like, we were just talking about me unbuttoning my shirt some more.
Right.
And even previous to that, we've had, you know, countless text messages of, so yeah, I'm very comfortable with you.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with you too. Although the face is kind of hard to get over, but that's cool.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
You got to work on that. What do they call that? Chad, help me out here.
Your poker face.
Yeah, your sense of security.
What?
There. Your sense of security there, because you're so insecure. You obviously have a problem with it. But,
Sarcasm.
Yeah, sarcasm. Anyway, so what? The reason why I wanted to have you and your friend on the show, and he bailed on us, so fuck him.
Nice. He was doing something with his boyfriend, because his boyfriend just came back from Hawaii, and his stuff came back, or his furniture and stuff. I forgot what it's called.
What doesn't he know we're more important? What the fuck?
Like TMO.
Oh, his household goods.
Side?
Yeah, household goods.
Yeah, there you go. So his stuff came back, and so they've been unpacking. And the last I spoke to him, he said he was still unpacking. So, because my whole point was to go there so we can Skype together.
Uh-huh.
So that failed. So that's when he was like, I don't know if I can, because you know he showed me pictures. I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, all right, I'll just give you a couple of hours. You know, I'm just saying.
Whatever. Anyway.
Hopefully next time he'll be able to.
Yeah, we'll get him on the show next time.
All right, cool.
Maybe. I don't know about this water and M&M shit, but
M&M.
Yeah. So
the candy or the wrapper?
No, the candy.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So when Chuk was sending him an email or a text to see if he'd do the show, he kind of diva'd out on us, talking about he wants green M&Ms and all. I said, yeah, whatever.
This dude's sending a writer to this podcast? Get out of here, man.
Right. Anyway, moving right along. The reason I want to do this show, Chuk, is it's you know, there's several reasons why, but mainly is I wanted to give you a voice. I wanted to give your buddy a voice too, because as you were telling me, he's active in the community. So I really wanted to be that voice for you guys. And mainly, I'm a prime example of people can change.
Ditto. Yeah, I agree.
And what I mean by that is, dude, when I was growing up, yeah, I was pretty far right. I was probably a homophobe back then, for sure.
You know, growing up in Los Angeles, I really wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
But it really wasn't something that I really gave any thought to, right?
Right.
If somebody was gay, whatever, right? It was like in a different world,
sure,
for me. But when I joined the Navy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So joining the Navy in 1988, the stigma, right? It was just. It was the cool thing to do, you know, a fucking fag. That was the cool thing,
right,
for a young 17, 18-year-old kid to kind of have that thought. So the first couple years, I kind of played that role a little bit. I mean, never saying anything to anybody, but would just kind of
your
use
attitude.
Use that language, whatever. Then I got a call, right? So growing up, I was very close with one of my cousins. Great dude. He was a couple years older than me, but lived right down the street and was just, you know, like one of my closest friends.
Sure.
Right? So my mom calls me up, and at this point, it's like 1991, my mom calls me up and says, "Hey, I wanted to tell you that Jimmy's gay." And I said, "Okay."
Right.
And then she said, "And he's got AIDS and he's terminal." Right? So that conversation, this conversation was no more than 10 minutes with my mom. Completely changed my outlook because it really made me take stock. Wait a minute. This is the same dude that, I dug a fort in our backyard, right, that my dad just lost his mind, and we dug this ditch that was like 3 feet deep by about 6 feet around right in the backyard, dude. Dad was not happy. We built a tree house. I mean, it was just, played football with him. It was my cousin. Right. And it kind of made me take stock of, does it matter?
Right.
And it was almost instantaneous. I didn't care after that point, right? It was more about that person's character. And in the military, when it was people that worked for me, it was always about their work ethic, their work output. I did not care. I mean, smack dab in the middle of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, I had 2 different individuals that worked for me that were fantastic at their job. And
were
I
they
knew.
fabulous?
One of them was.
I had to go there.
It was one woman, one man. But they were both great at their job, right? And that was, at that time, that's really all I cared about.
Sure.
They were good people. They were good sailors. And I could trust them with whatever. So that, like I said, that phone call kind of changed for me. But what I struggled with is watching people around me change slower. And to this day, I'm sure there's some exist that they're nowhere near as vocal.
Oh, no.
But that changed. So, and I've had friends of mine who are out of the military now. Some are still in. We've had this conversation about how tough it is to hide who you really are,
right?
Because of some stigma that's attached to it, And I can't imagine the difficulty that places on somebody.
Yeah, I can't either.
A friend of mine, she's going to be a CEO of a ship here very soon. And she's incredibly good at what she does, and she's outwardly gay, married, very vocal, and she happens to be a great officer.
Well, what more could you ask for then? So I could understand totally how being in LA, you were almost on track to being desensitized to it from the get-go. But me growing up in the Midwest, that was a big, huge taboo.
Oh, sure.
Huge taboo.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I remember we had, in high school, we had one guy that was gay and openly gay about it, and he took so much shit, man. I felt I was an asshole in high school. But I wasn't.
But nothing's changed. Please continue.
True. But I wasn't an asshole to pick on this guy, and I saw how people picked on him, and I was like, Jesus Christ, man, So that was my first, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
And then my first duty station was Naval Hospital Balboa in San Diego.
Yep.
And I worked on a floor that we had several patients in full-blown AIDS.
Yeah.
That were dying, and so that was number 2. That was tough as an 18, 19-year-old kid, thrust right into that, right? And then what kind of almost had a setback, I guess, if you will, is the patient. One of the patients was very bitter and very angry, and just a mean motherfucker, right? And he would yell at any of the corpsmen or anybody that would come in, and he would say, again, Chuck, like you were saying, some things you never forget, man. He was just a skeleton of a guy, right?
Right.
And he would yell like, "Come over here, let me bite you so I can give you the AIDS," and shit like that. And you're like, whoa, what the fuck, man? So, and not much longer than after that he died. But so that was kind of a step like, oh shit, dude, I don't want nothing to do with this, right? Scared the hell out of me, I'm not gonna lie. But then after, I guess it was halfway through my first duty station, I moved in with a buddy of mine and his roommate, and then it was hilarious, man. We're sitting around drinking one night, and he's sloshed, man. This guy was a fucking bad alcoholic. In fact, he had those breathalyzer things on his car.
Yeah.
Because he'd already had like 3 DUIs.
Yeah.
And he one night drinking wine, and he just starts crying. I'm like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? And he goes, I'm gay. I'm like, okay, so what?
Right.
But, again, this was 1990, so it wasn't okay. It wasn't accepted. And so he goes, does that mean you're kicking me out of the apartment? I'm like, no, dude, whatever. Fuck, I don't care.
Well, and that's what like your relationship with Chuk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Based on his character, your character, has nothing to do with who somebody spends their time with in their bedroom.
Right.
Who gives a fuck?
Right.
Who gives a shit?
I don't.
Right? And it's very easy for you and I to sit here and say, we don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point in our lives, we either did or we pretended to care.
Right.
About, and if you think about how ridiculous that is, the thing that I still wrestle with, man, is like guys like Chuk, how the fuck do you deal with this? You go to work every day knowing that if somebody finds out this secret, not only do I have to deal with that, right, and deal with some weird stigma that they impose, but fuck, man, this could cost a career.
Sure could.
Right? This is what my livelihood, and that is just unreal.
Depending on where you're at, it could cost you your life.
Oh, absolutely. Sure.
So, so there's no doubt. There's no doubt, like I said, I am proof positive that people can change, obviously, because I've changed my whole outlook on a lot of things. And again, that's another reason why I want to do this show, because I think, honestly, it stems from ignorance and non-educated folks on the whole stigma, right? People are afraid of what they don't know. And if you don't know about, the gay lifestyle or whatever, then and you've never been around it, you're going to be scared of it.
Well, and that's something. So you just said something and it kind of bothers me, right? The gay lifestyle. What is the gay lifestyle?
Well, I say that simply
Chuk,
because
do you get up and go to work?
I do.
Do you get up and cook breakfast and make yourself lunch and dinner and all that? Do laundry, right?
Yep, okay, yeah.
You go out and you go hang out and socialize with friends.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same shit I do. Maybe I'm gay, right?
You are totally, but for a different reason.
You see,
But the reason I said it on purpose, I really said that on purpose, because you and I don't see it that way. But how many millions of people are out there that still think of it? It's a lifestyle, right? I'm using air quotes.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
What's that?
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. So and people that have been sheltered from that, that's how they look at it. Honestly, realistically, like you were asking Chuk. I know Chuk. Jesus, 10 years now, right? And it's not a lifestyle other than, like you just said, you get up in the morning, you put your pants on.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring that point out specifically.
Well, and with the way you just explained it, right? So Monday, or actually Sunday, I'm driving up to Maryland, and I took back roads because I cannot stand driving through D.C. So I took little rural kind of highway type of deals, and I was floored at the amount of like giant Confederate flags that people had flying in their front yards, and I'm just like, what? Is it a Southern pride thing, or is it you're just a racist douchebag thing?
Probably a racist douchebag.
And that's kind of what I'm thinking too, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, those people still exist. We live in a very urban setting with a very multicultural, diverse interaction with the people that we work with daily. And I forget that those fucking rednecks are out there, right? And it floors me, man.
Where you going, Chuk?
Nowhere. I was actually just put my car on.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was saying. Where you going?
No, I'm here. No, I was funny because I couldn't hear, so I figured if I Bluetooth it, then I'd hear better.
You sound much better.
Yeah, you sound much better. You still
Right now?
Yeah, you don't look any better, but you sound tons better. So listen, man, I want you to, if you let us, Chad and I will sit here and talk all fucking night because that's how we are. But
Say that again?
I said if you let us, Chad and I will talk all night because that's just how we are.
Well, no, I'm listening. I'm listening to different perspectives. So it's not like I have this kind of conversation with straight friends. This is I would say this is the first time. So
Really?
I'm listening from a different perspective.
Well, that's cool, I guess. But I'd say Chad and I are probably still, unfortunately, a minority in this mindset.
So I'm going to throw this out there, right? And I think it's all generational.
Mm-hmm.
We may be a minority for our age group.
Sure.
Right? But I use my son as an example. My son went to school with countless openly gay kids at both high schools that he went to, right? The school that he's getting ready to go to has a very large LGBT population. And if you asked him his opinion on homosexuality, he don't give a fuck, man.
He's like, why are you even asking? It's
He's like whatever. I don't, he goes, it's just whatever. Who cares?
So that's kind of my goal for doing this show, actually. Get more awareness out and realize, look, dude, this it's got to change. The ignorance and the hate, and I don't get it, man. But what I want you to do, Chuck, is I want you to kind of give us your story, man. When did you first know that you were gay, and the struggles that you had to deal with, especially coming into the military? And I want to know how you felt being in the military before I found out, because you had to keep it hidden, and I'm sure you had friends, that knew, but as far as you have to hide it from your chain of command, your bosses, I can't fathom. I can't wrap my mind around how that had to have felt. So I want to dig into your psyche and understand a little bit through you.
Okay, so
all right, thanks a lot. That'll wrap up the show.
Oh, Andy. I'm gonna find you.
You know where I live, sucker.
So when I first joined, I was 17 when I joined, and being gay in the military was a no. And like I said, I met gay people. They didn't openly tell me they were gay, but I did suspect. And this whole thing about gaydar, gay people having, it's true. It's true.
I believe you.
Anyway,
I believe you. How old were you when you realized that you were gay?
Probably 17, 18.
Wow, really? Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I think I discovered later than most. I actually dated girls. And there was this one girl I dated for 2.5 years, and I think I was 20 at the time. We dated for 2.5 years, and we only slept with each other for 4 times. And we sort of lived together.
Sort of. So
then she was like, yeah, we kind of did. She was like, I think you're gay. And I was like, yeah, I think I am too. And we switched duty stations, and the next duty station we had, and then we saw each other again. So I think the one thing, she was one of my closest friends. She was the first person that I was kind of open with being gay. As far as everyone else, they kind of suspected, but I never really told them. And that was one of the hardest things to do, is be dishonest with the people you call friends.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
So a lot of,
if they're true friends, they're going to stick with you. But you find out true colors.
Yeah. And they don't want to lose your friends. So that was one of my struggles. And with you were part of my chain of command.
Right.
And I don't want me being gay affecting how, I was treated amongst everybody else.
Sure. Well, you were treated pretty bad in my command, if I remember right.
I think you did me real good.
Yeah, I think
wink,
so too.
Wink, No, it's no, for real, you did. You did me good at that command, so I am mad at you.
It's about time.
So,
anyway.
So where do you live now?
Philadelphia, PA.
Right on.
Yeah, we call Chad Philly Chad sometimes.
Sometimes.
Chad has probably more nicknames
I do.
than anybody I've ever known.
Why is he called Philly Chad?
Oh, Jesus.
It's a long story.
Okay.
It's a long
So
story.
I got a number of, I'll put it out there. I got a number of medical issues. And so like sometimes when I'm sick, you know, Andy makes the joke that I've got AIDS. I've got the HIV, right? And so he calls me Philly Chad, that I'm dying.
Because of the movie
Because
Philadelphia.
of the movie Philadelphia.
And you can detect he's got a little bit of an accent here.
Which is weird.
Yeah, because you're not from New York.
No,
anymore.
I grew up in Los Angeles.
Yeah, but he's got that almost New York attitude, and anyway, so moving right along. So yeah, so you found out, was this person your friend? Do I know this person by any chance?
No, you don't. I met him in Okinawa before I came to
No, the girl.
the girl.
The girl that you were.
No.
Okay.
No.
I thought it might have been somebody that we both know, but that's cool.
Yeah, I know who you mean. No, she was one of my good friends who knew.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, she was one of them. But she grew up with that, kind of environment where I did not grow up in that kind of environment. Sure. I grew up in the environment of, being gay is not
okay. Hey,
okay.
That rhymes.
So how old were you when you left Nigeria?
I was born here. I moved there when I was about, I can't remember. I left there when I was 3.
Okay.
No, I came back when I was 3. No, I left there. I was there when I was 3, and I came back here when I was 16.
Okay.
Yep, 16.
So I'm going to ask what to me is an obvious question, but how did your parents react to this?
My mother takes it well. She took it. I mean, at first, she wasn't sure. It was difficult. I got one of those speeches, it's not you. That whole speech, but eventually she came around, and I'm really, really open with her.
Good.
But my father, on the other hand, doesn't know, so he's still more tradition, like, the African mentality. So he doesn't know yet, and I don't know if I'm ever going to tell him, or I think he suspects, but he doesn't know.
Where is he at?
He lives in Nigeria.
Okay, so you guys, I mean, you have some sort of relationship, but you're obviously not super close.
No, we have a relationship, but it's not like we see each other,
Right.
Yeah, so we talk when we can, maybe twice a month.
Oh, okay.
All right, and so obviously he would not take that news well.
I don't know how he would take it.
Yeah. So you
Both
still.
parents up.
Well, for him, it's probably because that's a societal norm that it's wrong, right? That is the societal norm in Nigeria.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But you're still.
And me
so
being
you're
the
still.
firstborn too.
Oh yeah. So you're still living a different life when it comes to your dad. Then.
Yes.
God,
I'm still hiding the me from my father. Yeah.
Damn. That's. So, is your mom religious?
She is.
So is she Christian, or is there another faith that?
She's Christian Presbyterian.
Okay. And the reason I ask is because a lot of times, and I just want to dive into religion a little bit here real quick, because this pisses me off a lot. Religion, obviously, a lot of religions say that being gay is a sin, right?
Yep.
And they shun and they tell you you're going to hell and all this stuff. But again, I think on top of everything else, religion was designed to control the masses, right? And it's used as control and fear, and it goes right back to that whole fear and ignorance thing. Wow, that was long time. But what I just can't fathom is how you can sit there, especially the Catholic faith, right? You can go, and Connie's going to kick my ass for this, but you can go to confession and be absolved of all your sins, but it's not okay to be gay still. So if I can go and I can, jerk off 20 times in a day and go to confession and be absolved of that. but I can't go to confession and say I'm gay and not be absolved.
I don't know how you could muster up the energy to go to confession after jerking off 20 times a day.
Well, I'd have to go at the end of the week.
Gotcha.
Can you jerk up up to 20 times?
On deployment.
Deployment doesn't count.
That's right. But yeah, so I don't. What are your views on that? Are you? I don't think you're really super religious, are you?
I am not super religious. I mean, I go to church. I try to go to church twice a month.
Twice a year. Easter and Christmas.
No, twice a month. Like, so I try to go to church twice a month. I don't 100% agree with the Bible. I mean, like, I'll tell you what, like, when my grandmother found out, she's another person who's really, really, really a Christian and really, really a Nigerian. So her mind is old school. Like, when she found out, the next day, she brought out the Bible and says, being gay is an abomination. And I was like, really? That's what I need to read in the Bible? And so that's another thing that, you know, I remember. But she's coming around slowly. But as for me, like, I don't put my whole thing in the Bible.
Sure.
I have to, like, and that was part of the reason why it was hard being gay for me, like, because like I was told being gay is not right. It's in the Bible. Mm-hmm. At one point I was like, you know, I need to live my life. I'll go to church for forgiveness. And
well, see, here's the thing, and here's the other reason why I have a problem with it. If God or Jesus or whoever you believe in is so loving, right, and so caring and really cares about all of his people, what does it matter if you're gay? What does it matter? Mm-hmm. It doesn't. True. It doesn't. So that's why I kind of have an issue with that. I have a big issue with that, actually. Chad's over here smiling. He's about to dig into something.
Now, whenever the conversation comes to religion, I tend to shut up, mm-hmm. right? Which is rare for me.
Yes, it is very rare.
Partly because, I'm not a believer, mm-hmm. right? We've talked about that in the past.
Right.
I don't need to read a book to tell me the difference between right and wrong. I don't need to believe in a higher power. I believe that if I treat people with respect, mm-hmm. That's the best that we can do.
Yeah,
if
definitely.
I can leave a legacy for my son, whatever, mm-hmm. That's the best that we can do. And there's so much hypocrisy in the Bible, to me, right? Mm-hmm. Again, I know this always goes south, but there's so much hypocrisy to me that I just choose. You know what? I tend to shut up, and when people get on there, well, Jesus says, well, actually, he probably didn't. It was probably some dude who, 1,000 years after when. Zombie Jesus rose from the dead that wrote this down based on their own beliefs, right? I mean, it was just.
Well, how many times have you taken a message and you fuck something up?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just like today. We're supposed to all Skype today.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, there you go. That's enough said on that.
I whatever. So, but I do understand how it is a huge part of a lot of people's lives.
Sure.
I respect that.
I do too. Don't knock it.
And I can understand how those beliefs can be so deep that it affects what you do, your psyche, all that. Mm-hmm. I get it.
All right, moving along.
Sorry.
So is that what I'm getting from Chad here?
No, man.
No, all right. So anyway, Chuck. So you came in and you had this girlfriend, kind of, sort of, and then you realized that you were gay. And then which duty station was this at?
Oh, this was D.C. actually. Yeah.
Okay.
D.C.
Oh, that's right, because you were ceremonial guard.
Yeah, D.C. And then went to corps school. We still dated, and then we saw each other a couple of times in between, and we both ended up getting stationed in Okinawa.
Okay.
Yeah, by then we had already, broken up.
Right. So that's when
But she remained a really good friend.
Well, that's cool.
Through my phase.
Mm-hmm. So you got to Okinawa, and you were stationed where, down south at Kinser, is that right?
Kinser, yep.
Yeah. So, so how did you kind of, was it hard for you to accept at first? I mean, you know, you're coming to grips with a big change in your life. It goes against everything you've been told and taught up to this point.
It did at first. It went against what I believed and what I was taught when I was, growing up. So, and that's one of the biggest things for me is like, eventually you have to accept who you are. And even in the middle, like once the "Don't Ask, Don't Tell" got repealed, I was me. Mm-hmm. My last duty station, everybody knew I was, they suspected, but mm-hmm. I came out and I didn't care.
Sure.
Because...
How were you treated? Were you treated any differently?
That's a great question.
I was not. I was not treated any different. No, I wasn't. I mean, like I said, people knew, people suspected because the crew I hung out with were the gay ones at my last duty station. So they kind of suspected. And the people below me, they respected me. So, I appreciated that. It was, like I said, the respect I got when I was openly gay was the same respect I got from my subordinates when I was in the closet gay. So, and that was really supportive on them and my command.
Well, I tell you what I've seen over the past 29 years. The medical community has always had more of a acceptance towards. I mean, when it was hidden, it was still known, right? And it was still accepted. So I think your last duty station was kind of beneficial that you were at a medical command. So I think that really worked in your favor, I think.
Okay.
And it helped you really be able to be who you are and not have to worry about anything. So
that is true.
So I got to tell you, I got to brag on Chuk, man. Chuk was my right-hand dude at Beachmaster. So I got him. I didn't get him. It was all through him, obviously. But I was fortunate enough to be there to put him in and get him his recognition. So we got you at Sailor of the Quarter.
Yep.
Got you Sailor of the Year, I think. Got you Cap to Second Class.
All before I left.
All before he left. And we got him a C School. So that's why I say he had a really hard time with that command. He had to deal with a real asshole chief, I think.
That chief looked out. Like, that was a chief. Like, back then, that was a chief.
Well,
that was a chief.
I won't even comment on that right now.
Those guys exist, but
yeah, they're few and far between nowadays.
Yeah. Well, what I was saying is you hear stories, like, for me, before then, you hear stories about chiefs. I had come in contact with a lot of chiefs until I got to that command. That was the chief that was speaking of. Like, for me, that was the chief. Chief Barker was the chief in my command. Like I said, I had come across a lot of chiefs. And you hear stories, good stories about chiefs, but I never, ever heard I had my own story. And even till I got out of the Navy, he was always, unfortunately, he went to be an officer, but he was always the chief. He held the standard, and nobody met his standards. I'm just putting that out there.
So I will say that all of us, like, so I've had that guy in my career, right? Name's Carl Teamy. Unfortunately, he's no longer on Facebook. I've lost touch with him. But that chief had more effect on my career than any single one person. I like to think that I was that chief for somebody. I probably know who those somebodies are, but whatever. And it's kind of like, let me just kind of pay it forward type of deal. What Carl did for me, it sounds like it's very similar to what Andy did for you.
Oh, yeah. He was my chief. But anyway, sorry, Chief. Sorry, Andy.
Heard that guy sucks. Anyway.
Sucks something
now
else.
that we're done rubbing Andy's nuts, right? Jesus Christ.
Hey, I'm not the one who's over there.
Whatever, pal. Anyway. So we actually had some really good times at that unit. I think I know. Obviously, I knew, but did Charles know at the time or no?
He did.
Yeah, I figured as much.
He did. We remember that whole Fleet Week. We had Fleet Week. Oh my goodness. we had Fleet Week. I'm sorry, Mike. I'm expecting people and they're waiting for me. But we had Fleet Week and we got plastered. And I just told him, and he was like, "Bro, I already knew." Yeah.
We kind of suspected.
You know, it's funny that the folks that have outwardly told me, right, even before, it's like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, who cares?
So.
You knew? Yeah, I knew. Everybody knows. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, no shit. Chad has a connection, but I don't know if he wants to go there. So we'll leave that alone.
A connection of what?
To the community.
Oh,
I don't want to say it if it's too personal.
Oh, yeah. So, I totally forgot. Oops. So, my mom is gay, right? Get this. So, my mom is, hold on, I'm doing math in public, man. This never goes well.
He's even got his shoes off.
She's 72, right? So my mom moved in with her friend who's gay, has been her entire life, and they live in a senior community, and my mom, probably 6 months ago, told my wife, didn't tell me, because didn't know how I would take it, and says, hey, you know, me and so-and-so are a couple. And I'm like, all right, cool. Great. You know, and then they came out to visit me, and I got to meet her girlfriend. And I think my mom's jaw dropped on the floor because she was having trouble with her iPhone. And typically when my mom's having trouble with electronics, if I'm there, she'll, Chad, fix this, right? So she hands it to her girlfriend, and her girlfriend fixes it. And I stopped him and I said, you know what I love most about this relationship is that you don't call me when some shit isn't working anymore. That's the best part about this whole fucking thing. You know, and it was just...
Forget the rest of her.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. You know, at the bottom of the end of the day, just be happy. But, you know, again, you know, my mother, who I love dearly, she was worried about how I was going to react. Knowing how I feel, it still surprised me that it was so difficult for her to tell me. So, yeah. When you said I had a connection, I forgot.
Yeah.
Honestly, I forgot. Oh, yeah, my mom.
Chuck, do you have to go? It sounds like you got some...
No, I can talk. I'm talking.
Okay.
No,
cool.
I'm good. We're good.
All right, cool. So, moving right along. So after you left Beachmasters, you went to, where was it? Quantico, right?
Yep.
And that was your last role.
That was my last duty station where I popped out.
And
Re-popped out.
And I told you don't do it, didn't I? Told you don't go to pharmacy tech C school, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Didn't listen.
Oh, goodness.
Didn't fucking listen.
Many list of things I shouldn't have done.
No shit, right?
You didn't like being a pharmacy tech?
Oh, my goodness. No, I did not. No, I did not.
I knew he'd hate it. I knew it from the first second he told me. But, you know, that's what you want to do. That's what we do for you. We get you.
Hey, that's what you said. Oh, my goodness. No. Ooh, after the first 6 months? Mm-mm.
Yeah. So I want to bring up something else that may be a little bit personal that people don't realize happens a lot, and that's domestic abuse in the community. I don't know if people realize that it's real and it happens, and it probably, I don't know if it happens more often or less often, but it's definitely there. And you were kind of in a bad relationship for a while.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
All right. If you don't want to talk about it, that's cool.
I can talk bits and pieces.
Sure. Be anonymous. Be as vague as you can.
Hold on. All right, I'm here.
You're here?
I'm here. I did. I was, it's I think with me, with that situation, it was more, I see it as, a white officer arresting a black guy, and that's what I'm going to say. Because you hear a lot about white people, white officers arresting black people, and I think that's what that situation was. That's how I took it.
I'm not sure.
I don't know that I'm following
because
that
the situation happened in my house. It was his family were there, and they're not black.
Damn whitey.
Fucking crackers.
My buddy Corey just walked in, and Corey looked at me like, "What the hell are you just saying?" Of course, he can only hear one part of the conversation, right? But anyway, so go ahead. So it's like the popo beating up on.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
They broke my white PlayStation 4, though.
Wow. That's fucked up.
Yeah, but
Forget about the rest of the stuff. That's fucked up.
So it was immediately you were wrong.
Huh?
So the perception was that immediately you were at fault.
Yes, that's how I took it. Yes.
Did you get off the Bluetooth?
Hold on. As far as domestic abuse in the LGBT world, it exists because I've known others. Well, I know two other guys who are in domestic abuse, and it's I guess they think it's normal. You know, because they see it as two guys just fighting instead of a girl and a guy.
Got it.
You see, so
I'm tracking. Anyway, so I'm glad you got out of that situation. Bottom line is what I'm trying to say.
yeah.
And again, go ahead.
It's hard to realize when it's a bad situation with that. So, like I said, a lot of times it's just two guys fighting versus, you know. It's,
yeah, well, like I said, I'm glad you got out. And again, the whole purpose of doing this is for educational purpose. So what can we do to help out with awareness?
I think this is good. I was very happy when you first mentioned this. So, you know, just get the voice out there. I think the media also is, you know, doing a great job with showcasing transgender people in active roles, gay people in active roles in their community and everywhere else versus what it was like, you know, 20 years ago.
Sure, definitely.
Yeah, so the light is no longer negative; it's actually positive. So I think overall, everyone's doing their part. It's like it starts at home. You know, don't like it starts at home. Just, you know, see gay people as human beings.
Bingo.
Well, I mean, how else do you look at that, right? And again, I readily admit there are people that don't think like that, but I don't know how.
I look at Chuk as an ugly gay human being, basically.
Oh God.
In fact, uglier than a sack full of smashed assholes. How about that?
I'm beautiful, guys.
Okay, whatever.
I'm beautiful.
On the inside?
Oh, goodness. You saw me.
Oh,
Chad.
I saw you, all right.
Chad was like, girl.
He looked great, man. Come on. But then again, I'm an incredibly good-looking guy, so I can say that about another man.
Anyway, dude, let's. What do you say we wrap this up? I want you to get a hold of your buddy. I think I might know who you're talking about, actually.
The girl?
No. The guy that was supposed to come on the show tonight.
You might know through Facebook, but I don't think we've ever been in the same duty station.
No.
So he's active duty as well, or was, or is, or was.
Is he still in?
Nope.
Okay. But, yeah, I think is Hispanic dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm tracking. Cool. All right. Well, I want you to get a hold of him and give him as much shit from me as you possibly can for backing out. And then let's get him on some other time.
Okay. Yeah, he owes us.
Yeah, he does. Big time. And I do no fucking green M&Ms.
Oh, goodness.
All right,
Guys, it was nice. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to put my voice out there.
It was great talking with you.
yeah,
man.
thank God we didn't put your face out there. That's all I'm going to say.
Hey, my face is pretty.
Oh, so pretty.
Still.
Pretty ugly. But listen, brother, love you, man. And we're going to wrap this up, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you.
All right.
All right, take care, man.
See ya.
Be good.